To start the evening on the right foot, we're first going to hear from two authors who have previously won the award. Peter Gibbons won in 2022 for his novel King of War, and his newest book is The Raven and the Nine, which is book 6 in the Viking Blood and Bone series. Hannah Lynn won in 2019 for her book The Afterlife of Walter Augustus, and her newest book is New Beginnings at Wildflower Lock. So they will appear as if by magic any moment now. See, that was so good. That was so good. Hi, Hannah.
Hello, glad that worked. It's nice to see you.
And Peter will be, I don't know, maybe there's a spell of some sort. There we go.
Hey guys.
Hi, Peter, how you doing?
Peter.
Great, thanks.
Thank you both so much for being here, and I'm going to be asking you to share a little bit about sort of your journey since you've won. But let's start with your books first of all. I'd love to hear sort of your one sentence pitch, if you can go it down to one sentence. I know maybe I should have warned you about this beforehand. A one sentence pitch for your winning titles. So Peter, let's begin with you. Tell us what King of War is about.
Okay, so I'll try and keep it to a sentence, right? But King of War is a historical fiction novel set in the 9th century Viking age in England and Norway, and features characters such as a one-eyed Valkyrie warrior princess and Viking adventurers as they search for an ancient sword and participate in historical battles across the fjords of Norway. That wasn't too bad, was it, for one line?
That was great. That was a great sentence. I'll come back to you in a moment. Hannah, tell us about The Afterlife of Walter Augustus, please.
The Afterlife of Augustus is about a gentleman, Walter, who is wanting to move on to the next stage of the afterlife, but his plans are interrupted when part of his past falls into the hands of the living, which, yes, I don't know if that tells you much about it. It's not very genre specific, but that is the story.
That's great. Tell us a little bit about writing these books. How long had you been working on them before you published them? Hannah, let's go with you first.
So The Afterlife of Walter Augustus, actually the first draft quite quickly in it. I still remember now because it was many years ago, like when I had the idea of like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And I did the first draft in a matter of about 4 weeks, I think. But there were lots of redraftings after that, lots and lots and lots. And I think in the end, it took about 2 years before that one was finished. And it was the second novel that I had completed and published. So it was an absolute thrill to have won this award with that.
Amazing. And Peter, what about you? Are you a sort of a redrafting fan, or are you a work on the first draft until you're happy with that?
Yeah, so that King of War was the fourth book in the Viking Blood and Blade saga, and at the time I was still working full time in the fascinating and exciting world of insurance. So I was trying to fit the writing in around my day job. So I'd learned pretty quick after writing my first book about the different types of story structure and plotting. So what I tried to do then and still do now is try and write a first draft in one go. So I used to get up early and do it in the morning and do a little bit more in the evening, write the first draft all the way through without going back, and then go and do a series of edits then. And obviously then get the professional edits like a copy edit and proofread and all that stuff. But yeah, very much a plotter, but then steam on through and get the first draft down on paper before you tinker with it.
And when you were working on your books, did you sort of ever think about putting yourself forward for a prize and indeed winning?
No, because I think it's probably the curse of every kind of writer that when you're writing, you think what you're writing is rubbish. I don't know if everybody thinks like that, but I certainly do. And at the time, it was kind of arbitrary because I was working as well. It was like, what am I doing and why am I doing this? And what if it's rubbish? So the great thing about the Kindle Storyteller Award is there wasn't that much risk or putting yourself out there in terms of entering the prize. It's literally just entering the keyword. So I kind of did that when I was loading up the book and hoped that I might get somewhere, but never for a second thought that I would end up on the journey that I did.
What about you, Hannah? Was it something similar for you?
Yeah, well, again, like Pete, I was working full time, very much an early morning, sort of get words down. And like I said, it's one of those things that when you've got another job full time, you're like, you're doing it just for the love. You know, you do hope and you dream, but you're still doing it for the love. And in actual fact, my husband entered it with the keywords and entered me into the Storyteller Award. And I did not know that he had done that until I found out I'd been shortlisted. So I had no idea, because I was like, oh, darling, there's just no point, is there? Like, really, is there any point? It's my second book. It's not going to win. Yeah, but he did it anyway. He had faith and believed in me. But yes, when it came to the award, I was still so convinced that I wasn't going to win, that we had the award ceremony. We were living in Austria at the time, and I told him not to bother coming because I was so convinced that I wasn't going to win, and we had to sort out flights and babysitting and that sort of stuff. I was like, it's lovely, darling, but you know, it's not like I'm going to win or anything. Just stay home.
So did he not come?
No, he didn't come.
Oh no, but he did the best, the entering the prize.
He did, and I do still feel bad. Yes. So, and I rang him up afterwards, but I was so excited, I just rang him up and then hung up again and didn't say anything. So he didn't actually know if I'd won or not anyway.
It's so interesting to hear you both talk, because Peter, you were saying that you sort of, when you're writing, you're thinking, oh, it's not very good. And Hannah, you were saying that you just never really thought you'd win. Has winning sort of given you more confidence in your work and changed the way you sort of think when you're, because writing is very hard at times. Nothing's going to turn out perfect on the first go. So, but has it given you that kind of confidence and that self-belief that you need at both good and difficult times of the writing process?
Oh, absolutely. Peter, do you want to go, or do I? I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, like I suppose, well, now since I won the award, I write full time now. So that obviously gives me way more time to focus on the different drafts and like that. Like I still power on and get the first draft down and then go through a number of different, like I'll do a structural edit myself, and then I'll go back and look at all the ridiculous spelling mistakes I've made and how one person started off with a bald head and one eye and ended the book with long red hair and kind of two green eyes. So when you have more time, you're able to go back and go through all those different processes. But I don't, that's only because I have the time now. I think before, like Hannah said, I was kind of doing it for the love of it. And it was more kind of a hit and hope that you release the book and you hope that people like it, but you do it because you love it. And whereas now it's my job, it's a profession. So you kind of more diligent and more time is spent on it, but the love is still there. Thank God.
Do you think your writing has changed at all because you have more time?
Well, hopefully it's got better, because I'm not doing it in kind of fits and starts, you know, like that, not doing it at kind of 5:30 in the morning for an hour and then getting on a Zoom call, doing a kind of an insurance meeting and then coming back to the world of Vikings later on in the evening. So whereas now you can kind of fully immerse yourself in it, you know, so hopefully it's improved, but maybe readers might say otherwise.
No, not at all. And Hannah, what about you? Do you sort of have much more belief in yourself as an author since?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you know, like Peter, I'm now doing this full time, and that was a dream, you know, and I will have moments every week, if not close to every day, where I will just at some point stop on my computer and just be like, this is my job. Making up stories is my job, and I love it. Like, I am so grateful for that, for the confidence it gave me, just to like, okay, you can do this, you know, and if I can put in the time when I was working full time, then now I can really go for it. And like I said, the passion hasn't died in any way. We've just got more time to write all those stories that are in our head, and we could still do with more time. I'm sure every writer out there knows that you could always do with more time.
Are there other ways in which your lives have changed since winning the prize? Obviously, I mean, being able to sort of do what you love full time is such a big thing. I wonder if there are sort of more subtle ways in which life has changed.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on this one. I now have a community of writers and of amazing writery friends, which I didn't have, partially because of where I was living, but also I just wasn't aware of this fantastic group of people. And you know, from the offset, when I met my other group of finalists, you know, we formed this great friendship, and then with other finalists that have come through the years, it's been so lovely. There's this amazing sense of camaraderie, because, you know, writing's one of these things where you lift everybody up. You know, you're there and there are always people to lift you up, and I absolutely love that. And I know that, you know, that community, I wouldn't have it in the same way if it wasn't for the storyteller. So I'll be forever grateful for that.
Brilliant. Peter, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely echo that. I think that before I was shortlisted and won the award last year, I didn't know anyone who was a writer, nobody, because when you're kind of starting out, it's a solitary thing. You kind of, like I said before, you're kind of doing it on your own. But then on the evening of the awards, I met a few writers, and I met some great people like Hannah and some of the people who'd won the award before. And now whenever there's kind of an event, we meet up and everybody's great, and we end up doing crazy things and doing karaoke and having mad nights, and it's great. And
you were very good.
After I won the award, I got a social media exchange with a very prominent historical fiction author who I would have read all his books, and his view on it was a rising tide floats all boats kind of thing. So he was happy to give me recommendations for my books. And I think being involved in the writing community is so kind of uplifting, because everybody's really supportive and everybody wants each other to do well. And I think the answer to your question is just that, in that it's a subtle change, in that what you find then is you go from working in an office where your colleagues are kind of people that you're forced to work with, to having this community of authors who become your colleagues when you become a writer. So like Hannah and I are kind of colleagues and workmates now, if you will, and everybody's really supportive and everybody's there to help you, and it's great.
Yeah, it's lovely to see that community. Sorry, go on, Hannah.
No, I was just going to say, like, the joy you get at someone else's success is it's crazy. You just, you would really, you just feel elated for them. So it's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, it's not like in your old life where somebody gets a promotion and you kind of half smiling but secretly kind of kicking yourself under the table or gossiping at the water fountain about them. It's like genuine support for everyone. It's great.
Yeah, because readers have got, I mean, I'm sure everyone in the comments can attest to this, but there's no such thing as a to read pile that's too big. You can always be adding more books, and there's always time to find more books to read. This is a little bit of a cheeky question, but are you able to share at all what you spent your winnings on?
For me, it was the where I'm sat now. I nearly said I built an office outside in my garden, but I didn't build it. I used the money to pay somebody to build. If I built it, it'd have blown over by now. But yeah, I was able to get I used the prize money to build an office out in my garden, and that's where I work now every day. So it's fantastic.
So a dedicated sort of writing space. Lovely.
Yeah. Well, first thing I did is I actually went on a book buying spree, like literally the next morning, went to Waterstones. I'm like, nothing's going to stop me. And we did also have a nice trip to New York as well. That was very lovely. Make up for, not taking my husband to the award.
He'll have forgiven you for that. Don't worry. Obviously, you are still writing, which is brilliant. Can you talk a little bit about your current sort of novels, the currently released novels, rather than ones you're maybe secretly working on, although you can reveal about those as well if you like. Hannah?
Was that? Yeah, I actually had a republication yesterday for one of my Greek mythology retellings, which has been fantastic. So that is now shop wide and US and everything, so that's amazing, with Athena's Child. And I am also continuing to publish rom-coms, so I've got lots of releases there. Like you said, The New Beginnings at Wildflower Lock is one of my rom-com series, and I've got a Lessons in Love. Yes, so that is lots and lots of books going out from me at the minute, which is great.
Brilliant. And we'll be dropping links in the chat box as well for anyone who's interested, which is, I'm sure, everyone. Peter, what about you? Can you tell us about your latest book?
So like I said earlier, King of War was the 4th book in the Viking Blood and Blade series. Since then, I've released 2 further books in that series, and I've literally just finished the first draft on the next one, which will be out at the end of November. And I've also now, because I've more time, I wrote and released a thriller under a pen name, which is Dan Stone. I released that maybe a month ago. It's called Lethal Target. That's also going pretty well. So I self-published that, and the next book in that series will be out in December. So yeah, it's kind of pedal to the metal, writing Viking books and thrillers and all the crazy stuff you want to do when you don't have time to do it full time. I suppose it's kind of, you're unfettered now when you've got all the time, and you can let your mind run wild and write whatever crazy stuff you want, you know.
Brilliant. I love that you're both taking us into so many different worlds with your books. Thank you so much.